Good afternoon once again. I always say I have a big voice. Sasa kama na shout muniambie kwa na shout. Sindio? But I must say that I'm very happy to be here today. Jojua mara nyingine kizungu hudisappear. What I like to do is just to talk to people. Talk especially to youth and to mentor the upcoming generation. So, first things first. Nataka mushike character. Character. Competency. I will ask you, competency and commitment. Those three words, the three C's, I call them the three C's. So it's character, competency, and? Okay. So you've all heard that at one point in my life, I was the managing director of Kenya Ports Authority until they decided they're going to fire me. So you know how these jobs are? Yeah? But before I got there, what did I do? How did I get there? Today we've heard from Sheila. She's got her own business or businesses. We've heard he's also a businessman. I am not a business person. So I'm going to come at this from a completely different. I'm recovering from a cough. Excuse me. No big deal. Yeah. So I'm coming at this from a different angle. How do you get to the top? How do you do it? And for sure, I can tell you, there's no luck. In this world, there is no luck. Let nobody say, oh, David is so lucky. Oh, Sheila is so lucky. Olive is so lucky. No. They're where they're supposed to be at the right time. Yeah. And they have definitely done things that have gotten them there in that space. So let me start at the beginning before Ovi asks me. I'm the firstborn in a family of 5. We're 2 girls. The 2 girls are the older ones, and the jambazis are the other 3. So growing up, I had to take responsibility for my siblings very early on. Yeah? And being a firstborn, you all know. How many of you are firstborns here? Munajua. You know. Yeah? So, what would happen is my father would come home and the first thing he'd do is, Muche! That's my other name, eh? Muche Bunge. Muche! Njoo hapa. So I'm like, what have I done? What have I done? Then when I go there and I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, shikamo baba and all that. You know how coastal families are. Then he'd say, where were you when so-and-so was doing this? I'm like, so it wasn't even me. Yeah? It was so-and-so who did this. But it's pity to make sure so-and-so does not do. Yeah, such and such. So I learned very early to be responsible. And to make sure my siblings did not get into trouble. Because they did something that would cause problems in, you know, when the parents come back home. And it was always my problem, you know. So that leadership, the leadership's tendency started then. Yeah? So having learned that, moving on now to my schooling life, went to nursery school, Aga Khan Nursery School, Aga Khan Primary School, was lucky enough to go to a good national school. How many of you know about I went to? You know these things. I went to. People get very tired about here. But there's a reason why I'm saying this. Because how you start, almost always, it's not 100%, how you start, and if you purpose to, it is going to lead you to bigger things. Yeah? You may get lost along the way, but it is going to lead you to where you need to get. So it is you standing here and focusing there and having a purpose and having a goal. Yeah? So I went to school there, came back, did my A-levels, so that tells you how old I am. Did my A-levels, much nearer 60 than 30. And then after that, went to college. But in all these institutions, I was either a prefect or a head girl, you know. Leadership, leadership, leadership. Okay? Went to college. Now, college was a different ball game. I mean, college, you either go to class or not. Nobody cares. So it's up to you. It's up to you to do what you are required to do and to be good at what you do. Now, for me, I have parents wanakuweka bumper to bumper. So as you go out and you party, come back at 3 a.m., at 7:30, 8 o'clock, you hear the receptionist calling, hey, your father is here. You're like, oh my God, oh my God. Your eyes, your face, they're like this because you haven't slept. So knowing that my parents would do that, I decided, you know what? I need to get through this college thing without any issues. Yeah? And he would talk to the dean, he would talk to the lecturers, and he did that for all of us siblings. So at any one point, you knew there was somebody who's watching you here, like this. This also, me, and the way I raise my kids. Because I saw it work for us. Okay, so that is college. I come out of there. First degree, second degree, armed with that, I joined KPA. Yeah? And I start in the trenches. There was excuse me. There was an internship program. I joined that one. And incidentally, I applied and got into KPA. I was not handed on a silver platter. Yes. So I get to KPA. We're in the trenches. Management trainees, pretty much like interns. I'm speaking to you. So what is going to distinguish me from everyone else? It's very easy to just coast through life. You wake up in the morning, you go to work, you come back, you're tired, nimechoka, umefanya nini? Even you don't know what you did, but you're tired. Yeah? There are words that have been mentioned here today, and they're not for show or for talk. Intentional and deliberate. If anything else, if you live here, hamukushika chochote, shikeni intentional and deliberate. You must be intentional. You must be deliberate in what you do. That is how you are going to distinguish yourself from everyone else. And I think we were about 50 interns. So how did I get to be MD and they were still my juniors? Masomo sasa. I do have a degree. I have a master's degree, but I need to be a professional. For me, being in the finance department, the only way I could rise up is if I had a CPA. Yeah? Started my CPAs. And luckily enough, KPA said, oh, you know what? We're going to sponsor people. So I got sponsored. I did my CPAs. Finished. As soon as I finished my CPAs and I took my certificate back to the HR director, nilirushwa 1 grade. Yeah? Where have I left my colleagues? Okay. So I finished my CPAs today, and then somebody tells me, by the way, you know, now that you've done your CPA, why don't you finish the CPSs? You're exempted from everything. You only need to do, I think it was how many subjects? I can't remember. So I said, why not? So I'm still, that momentum of reading, unasoma mpaka how you can't remember your name, was still there, so I enrolled. And I finished my CPSs like that. So now it is CPA, CPS. Lazima ujitume. So I have done that. Opportunities have come up. Yeah? There are vacancies that have been announced. Who is going to get the job? If you don't, the credentials, you have the certificates, and people can see that you are doing, you're doing something. Utapata hiyo kazi, si ndio? Yes. So at CPS done. I moved through. And one of the things that helped me move up is that at every stage, I was thrown into the deep end by my supervisors. Yeah? So when I joined KPA, let me backtrack a bit. When I joined KPA, I was deployed to the payroll section. It was a little section, but very important because that's where everything that was anything was generated. And for people to get paid, they had, especially for the unionizable staff, they had to have time cards. How are those time cards done? Cardboard, huh? Like this. And then there's this big machine in a gonga, like that. It prints out your name, your department and section. Yeah. How many employees are there in KPA at that time? 7,000, 8,000. You're doing this for about 6,000 employees manually. So you start at the beginning of the month. By the end of the month, it must be ready so that that card can be used now for the next month. I sat down and I said, no, life can't be like this, surely. Huh? And then that is where people earn their overtime. So because you start the beginning of the month, towards the end of the month, you find that you still have a few thousand cards to do. So you've got 15 hours of overtime. Ulisikia wapi? Yeah? So I decided, in my wisdom, and I'll tell you why I'm saying in my wisdom. In my wisdom, I said, no. There must be an easier way of doing this thing. So instead of using that machine, I got stickers done. So the stickers are run using a computer, and then you stick. So instead of using a whole month to do this work, now you've reduced it to how many days? 2 or 3 days. I was almost sacked. Overtime imeenda. The union officials came to me and said, this is nonsense. You can't do this. I said, but. And when they said, yeah, this is the way we are going to go. So that thing of machines and staying and then paying people over a period of 5 days, that ended. Lakini ilienda na overtime za watu. And it saved KPA a lot of money. So when the bosses saw that, they said, now this one, I think we can use her somewhere else. Then I was told, why don't you go and set up that taxation section, which is now, I believe, a fully fledged department. Yeah? So I'm like, what do I know about taxes? Yes, I'm an accountant, but what do I know about taxes? And then this is a challenge. Yeah? I made a few to KRA. And to this day, I am friends with Mrs. Mayo. If you people know Mrs. Mayo, the one who was alikuwa, what was she for kina Raila? Mrs. Mayo. She's retired, but she's now, she's like a think tank and secretary. Yeah? So she took me under her arm and she said, I will show you what to do. We set up the tax section. Today, it is working, like clockwork. VAT, pay as you earn, all those deductions that you're talking about. I don't know how they're going to deal with shift now, That's a different ball game. But we set up that tax section, and I made friends in KRA who would later on come to be of assistance to me and as well as the organization. Those friends are the same people who also helped me where I am today. Because when you go to a board, people will ask you, what are you bringing to the table? So these are some of the things that you bring to the table, that you've got people that you can talk to when things go wrong. So that's tax section. Climbed again. Now I'm the chief accountant. Then enter this gentleman, BMMO, Brown Ondego. We used to call him BMMO. looks at me and he says, you know, we want to computerize KPA. So I said, yeah, so basically, yeah. So he says, you're going to be the project manager. I'm like, hiya. What do I know? You know, the way I am now, I'm like, yeah. So he says, yes, I believe you have the potential. You can do this. I said, wow, okay. Now, what was happening at that time is KPA was implementing an enterprise resource-wide system, SAP. Serious money, serious work. And here I am being told that you're the one who's going to run with this project, in addition to being chief accountant. Pesa ya KPA sipote. Na hii kazi pia iendelee. Let me tell you, I've never spent sleepless nights like that. Because I used to leave the port at that proverbial midnight. The last person to leave after everyone else has, you know, we did it over a period of 18 months. Got to learn a lot about project management. Yeah. Became an SAP certified consultant in the process. Yeah. And it was really a learning experience. Why am I telling you this? You have to put yourself out. You have to be bold. I could easily have said, I can't. Get somebody else. Get somebody else. But there I was, I said, okay, I don't know much about project management, but let me learn, let me find out. And that was something else that went onto my CV. My ultimate game was to become the general manager of finance. That's what I was looking at. So every step of the way, as soon as nikipita hapa nasema, oh, okay, nime manage hapa, let me see what the next position. Yeah? So that was my end game. GMF, good enough. So I'm still the head of financial accounting, which is pretty much the chief accountant. And then one day, the board at that time decides that all the general managers and the MD would go for the director's course, Institute of Directors. Yeah? I'm like, and me? And me? And that is how I got to go for that course. And because I asked, then the other, my other colleagues at the same grade as I also got to go. Yeah? See, I had a direct door to Brown's office because of the project. So I'm like, even us. So we all went. That's how I got my credentials as a member of the Institute of Directors. So now they're looking for finance. Who? I have a CPA, certified secretary, MBA, IOD, Kenya Institute of Management. They said this one. That's why I'm telling you, when I started by saying there is no thing such as luck. She's so lucky. No, it was serious, hard work. And the sooner, now I'm speaking to them again, the sooner you realize that you need to put in the hard work now, the better it becomes for you later. Because that is what is going to distinguish you from everybody else. Yeah? I have relatives who used to say, wasoma, kwani yuko kusoma ndio. But you know why you're doing it. You've got a goal. You have a vision, you have a goal, you have targets. And you must do that for yourself. Yeah? So I became the general manager of finance. And I was general manager of finance for 8 years. 8 years. Fun job and everything. We did a lot of stuff with my other colleagues. Those were the days when KPA was KPA. There's nobody from KPA here. Eh? Those are the days when KPA was KPA. So I'm sitting there one day. Somebody approaches me and says, we'll soon be looking for an MD. And you know how political these jobs are. So I'm like, looking for an MD. So we think you can make it. I'm like, hii kazi vile iko political. Yeah. So I went home, consulted with my husband, and he's like, go for it. So I went to my dad. Incidentally, my father is a former MD of KPA and chairman. So basically KPA iko katika damu yangu. Hata school fees zangu zimelipwa na KPA. You know? So I went to him, we talked, and he said, hey, mwanangu, are you sure? Then I said, why not? This is me now. Yeah? Why not? A man is going to come here and do this job. Maybe a man from outside the organization. I know this job because we were lucky enough when of KPA, what he used to do is every time he was out of station, he would leave one of us answering for him. So, and he would not, he would not interfere. So he's away for a week, he's away for 2 weeks, you are the MD. So what is so difficult? Little did I know. Anyway, so I said, yeah, okay. And believe you me, for such jobs, the decision huwa imefanywa kitambo. Nyinyi wengine muna apply kusindikiza watu. Na mukini quote shauri yenu. Yeah? So I was told, okay, we will go with you. I put in my application, went through the interviews and everything, and got the job. Yeah? But I remembered my father's words. The day you step into that office is the day you are on your way. Yes. The day you step into that office, it might be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, is the day you are on your way out. So you need to be prepared. Yeah? Psychologically, unajua you're on your way out. So I went into the job. There's a lot of stuff that we did during that time. I was there. That's when mambo ya SGR started. When SGR was being built, I was there. I fought with those Chinese. Really fought with them. And they had a direct line to the big man at that time. So they would say, oh, the MD has refused. And I would get this call. Ooh-wee. And people who don't sleep early. Why? I'm going to sack you. Those things, I got so used to them. I'm going to sack you tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, I know one day you're going to sack me. It's okay. Yeah? But this job has to be done because I have numbers to deliver. Yeah? If I don't deliver, I'll still be the same person you want to sack. So I better get my Yeah, so we did that. SGR took off. It is what it is today. Helped Kenya Railways a lot because they didn't have the expertise. We helped them a lot to sort out their SGR issues. Yeah? Then one day, all these wakubwas descended into the port. I don't know if you remember. There was a time when you had CSs walking into the port at odd hours of the night. Saa 8 usiku, unapigiwa simu, unaambiwa kuja. And you go. Yes, unaoga, unavaa nguo, unaenda. Kuja. Why? Kama kawaida. And you look at them like, I'm the expert. There's nothing wrong here. But since you want to find fault, it's fine. And when that started to happen, I knew. Chuma changu kiko burning hot. So, mister, the way these things are going, acha tuangalia, they're about to sack me. He says, but this is not what we signed up for. But it's a political seat. It's a hot seat. Okay, so it went on like that. Then on the Wednesday that they're going to sack me, the whole government descended into the port. That's when because normally we would have board meetings where everyone would send their alternates. Sindio? At this time, wali kuja wenyewe. And meanwhile, I'm the one who has been told to call for the board meeting. Yeah, so I said, sawa, no problem. And they came. had the meeting without me. Then they called me and, you see, we don't think we can work with you. I said, okay. I'm sure even them, if they think about it, they must have wondered who you are nafikiria nini, because I did not react. Okay. So we need you to resign. I said, on what, based on what? What grounds? What have I done? We'll give you 1 hour. You go to your office, you come back and give us your decision. I said, okay. Went to my office, called my husband, and I told him, hey, chief, that thing has happened. He says, pack your bags and leave, come home. So I packed my bags and I left. I left them in the boardroom. Yeah? I'm pointing like this because the boardroom was on 6th floor, my office on the 5th floor. Self doing things. Yeah. Baadaye, I did not even resign. I said, I have vacated. 2 different things. Take your office, I have vacated. Yeah, so, I left the office, came home. So they are sitting, waiting for me. And then the PS calls me and says, Catherine, we're waiting for you. I told him I'm at home. Oh, but I said, no. You've already told me to go. I'm gone. I'm at home. Oh, okay. And I sat at home. So there you've got my mother crying, my sister's crying, my father's annoyed, you know. I'm like, lakini aren't you the same person who told me? This office is the day you're exiting. Yeah, so my husband at that time used to work in Nairobi, so he was on next flight down to Mombasa. So I'm sitting at home. They sent a driver with letters, one telling me that to show cause why, you know, that I never, what was the letter about? Show cause why I did not implement the board's directives. Another one, I can't remember what it's saying. And I laughed. I said, this is okay. But mentally, already, I had shifted. You know? It was very easy to sit down and say, well, yeah. But I said, no. That thing that I was told, leo uko hapa, kesho umeenda, it stuck with me. So, until tomorrow, I have never shed a tear. Huh? I've never shed a tear. In fact, I was the one who was consoling people. Yeah? So, I responded to the letters, and I told them, you're the very same board that evaluated me. Here's my board evaluation, and you gave me 96%, so I don't know what you're talking about. You know? I don't know what you're talking about, but here. Later on, I decided, okay, usipigane na serikali, please. What happened now is there were these huge cars that used to park outside my gate. Very intimidating. Do you want to live like that? Do I want my kids to live like that? I said, take your job. At that time, I hadn't realized how tired I was. Burnt out completely. I was living on adrenaline. Yeah? What would happen is in the morning, I drop my kids to school. Lunchtime, I'm on a plane to Nairobi. In the evening, I'm on the last flight back. By the time I get home, I find a message saying, by the way, there's a meeting at 8 a.m. I'm on the 4:30 a.m. flight. Let me tell you, my frequent flyer mileage was amazing. Was amazing. But that is the kind of life that I lived. And during that time, as MD of KPA, I sat on these boards that were mentioned. Yeah, I was on the Vipingo one. I was on CDN Bank. I hadn't yet joined Moving the Goalposts. And I remember one day, the late Chris Kirubi sent James Moria, call Catherine and tell her, I want her to sit on this other board, excuse me. So James calls me. James Moria is the CEO of Centum. Calls me, says, Kathy, chairman is saying that, no. Nina kazi nyingi. I'm sitting, if you're the MD of KPA, you sit on the board of Kenya Railways. You sit on the board of Kenya Ferry. Yeah? You sit on the board of Kenya National Shipping Line. Yeah? I had all these boards that I was sitting on. How many more could I do? Chris Kirubi called me himself. Catherine, he laughed. And he said, do you know there is life after the port? I said, aye, but doc, aye. No. Already put in the letter. You are going to sit on this board. This is the Vipingo development one. So we meet in Vipingo. And we sit together. And he tells me, you know me, these people still think I am on the board of Vision 2030. I resigned a long time ago. Useless people. Those are his words. The way he used to talk. I said, but you know, I feel like I'm spreading myself thin. He says, no, you can do it. So I said, okay, sawa. We met again after I have exited the port. And he laughed at me. He laughed. He was almost rolling on the floor. I told you. I told you. Now you see, if you didn't have this, what would you be doing? And I can tell you here right now that those boards are what has kept me going all this time. Because after being told to exit unceremoniously like that, where do you go? What do you do? Yeah? And I didn't have to look for a job. Yeah? Nikasema, wacha Mungu aitwe Mungu, because God always has a purpose. God always has a purpose, and God will always show you the way. Excuse me. Okay. Now, back to the 3 C's. What were they? Character. Let's start with that. Or let's start with competency. If you're not competent, you will not get anywhere. You will only go up to here. And Wazungu said, okay, thanks. I had a bad cold the other day. I lost my voice, so it's just beginning to. Wazungu said, you will only rise to your level of incompetence. So competency is so important. Make sure you have what it takes to go to the next level. If you need to have a degree, make sure you have that degree. If whatever is required, if you need to have a diploma in some, make sure you have it. If you need to have a certificate in whatever it is you want to do, make sure you have that certificate. Yeah? And increasingly, you find that even as a business person, Sheila here and David will tell you, you need to have hiyo kisomo ya kukusaidia. If you don't have that kisomo and you have employed people with kisomo, they will do you in. They know more than you. They will do you in. So make sure you have that competence to do. Number 2, nini? Character. Character is so important. What kind of person are you? Yeah? Woye, they've sacked me from KPA. So what? Are you the first one to be sacked? Yeah. If you're a woye person, you will not get far. Or the kind of person who says, yule ndiye alifanya. That is the person. It's their fault. No. Take responsibility. Yes? Your character is so important. You need to build a resilient character. David here told us that he has failed more than enough times. But here he is today. Yeah? Sheila here told us in the morning that she's from Jericho. She's here today. Character. Character. Muhimu. Yeah? You are your own person. Self-awareness has been spoken of today so many times, it cannot be overemphasized. Be self-aware. And know that you have the potential to do. You just have to dig deep and do. Yeah? What was the last thing? Commitment. Usianze halafu uache katikati. Utaanza ushike ukiacha, ushike ukiacha, ushike ukiacha, ushike ukiacha. This person. You must be committed. You must be committed. Yeah? And that's why I had said earlier that you must have a vision. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Have that vision. Have your goals. Chip at them. Moja moja, moja moja, moja moja, moja moja, until you get to where you are. Along the way, in my journey, I had mentors. Brown Ondego is one of my mentors. Chris Kirubi was one of my mentors. He's a mentor. My mother, that one she used to mentor with a mwiko. Yeah. But you must have mentors. Na musiogope kuuliza. Yeah. Ask. You don't have to get burnt if somebody else has already been burnt and done that thing. Ask. So, my life after the port. I do have all these boards that I sit on, but I'm doing nothing. Yeah. It took me 5 years, to finally say, okay, enough, girl, get up and go. So I left the port in 2018. I was seriously burnt out. I did not want to think about anything at all. So the boards were keeping me. So I was costing, Board meeting, yeah, ticket sent, you go. Board meeting, Corona is here, so virtual, everything. Last year is when I said, you know what? Enough of this. You need to do something. So I sat down and I thought, and I said, okay, quite a number of people normally come to me and they ask me, unauliza mawaidha, what do you think? I want a new job, that kind of thing. And I give free advice. And I said, why don't I monetize this? Okay? Why don't I monetize this? How am I going to monetize this? I decided to enroll in a coaching class. Started, I think, in August last year, finished in April of this year. Serious hard work. And in that time, because one of the things that you need to do for you to get your certificate, and it's an international certificate, yeah? In that time, I got 2 of my coachees. One of them is being headhunted right now because of what we discussed. And the other one has decided they're going back to school. Why? The same thing that I see you have potential. You are stuck somewhere. Yeah? And we have a conversation every week, an hour. What is it that is making you stagnate? Why do you think you're stagnating? And it's a very difficult conversation because I'm going to chokora you until you say, actually, it's me. I'm my own worst enemy. Yeah? And you face the fears. You face yourself. It's like holding up a mirror. Face yourself. One of them right now is being headhunted. And that is my satisfaction. If I can unstuck you, if there's a word like that. Yeah? If I can help, if I can move you forward, that is what I would like to do. Yeah? If I can mentor you to be the best version of yourself, that is what I like to do now. It's easier for me because I don't have to think with this part of my brain. I'm thinking with this one. But it's very, very satisfying. Yeah? So basically, that is my life. And I hope it has shown you that hard work, resilience, competence, character, yeah, commitment, these things matter in your life. Asanteni sana.